Am I the asshole for only wanting to spend a certain amount of time with my nephew? So I, 32F, had agreed to have my nephew, 6M, over for a sleepover, and he has been asking for a while. In my head, a sleepover is exactly that, sleeping over. I'd planned what to make us for dinner, some games we could play and a movie he wants to rent. Then I was going to go to the park and a dog walk in the morning. I love my nephew and don't babysit very often, although had my niece and nephew for the full day 3 days ago. I said to my sister to drop him off around 3–4 p.m. and I'll take him home around 12 p.m. the following day, or a bit earlier, late morning, depending on what time he wakes up. He tends to go to bed around 8 p.m. and wake up around 6–7, so in my eyes, that's around 4–5 hours in the evening and 5 hours in the morning for us to spend time together. My sister has an issue with this and doesn't like that I'm not having him earlier and dropping him off later, i.e. spending the days together, and thinks it's pointless me having him. She also has an issue with me saying I'll drop him off a bit earlier if he wakes up earlier, and is implying I want to get rid of him earlier and spend less time with him. I don't have children, have medical issues that cause me to have fatigue, and my nephew needs a lot of attention and is very boisterous and energetic. He's a little immature for his age and acts very silly when excited. He also gets very bored easily and I find it difficult to entertain him, so I was saying I'd drop him off late morning, 12-ish, as the earlier he's up, the more likely he'll get bored quicker. I also booked time off work to get loads of house DIY stuff done, so I don't want to have him all of the next day as it'll delay me getting stuff done. I can understand how my sister might feel offended thinking I don't want to spend time with him, and she's saying I'm implying he's an inconvenience, but I don't see why there's an issue when I'm spending time with him in the evening and the next morning. I'm not used to having to entertain children, and whilst I love my niece and nephew, I don't want children as I don't have a lot of patience and don't particularly enjoy being around children in general. Am I the asshole for not having him over for longer? Update. Thanks everyone for your thoughts. We ended up arguing about it and I just couldn't understand what her issue was. It boiled down to her main issue being with me saying, I'll drop him off at 12, maybe a bit earlier if he wakes up earlier, as that's where she felt I wanted to spend less time with him, as I was moving the goalposts earlier, rather than it being, I'm not free past X time. Maybe I could have phrased that better. I was trying to communicate that I was just giving a caveat of maybe earlier in case he's bored and wants to go. Or if I needed child-free time earlier than 12 and my energy levels were depleted. I said late morning. I'd understand her having a problem me dropping him off at 8 a.m. She said feels sad for him cuz it's like I want to get rid of him as early as possible, and she feels other relatives don't seem to want to look after him for long. Probably because he's so high energy and isn't good at self-play, so needs constant attention and entertainment. She didn't feel comfortable with him sleeping over if I felt he was too much, her words. I never said that. And that he's my nephew, so I should want to spend time with him doing kid stuff, of course I do. But I was explaining that as someone who has chosen not to have children and has low energy levels, there's a limit. She just doesn't see my point, and I felt guilty that sometimes I do think my nephew is too much for me and my energy levels, but I'd never say that to him. She ended up apologizing and he came over. She obviously realized she had argued her way out of a child-free evening, and we've had a nice time together, but it's rubbish being made to feel like the bad guy for setting a boundary. Thank you for giving your opinions, as I was finding it difficult to see her point. Not the asshole. That's the offer that's on the table. If your sister can't live with it, then unfortunately there won't be a sleepover. It sounds like you've planned a fun itinerary that's manageable for both you and your nephew. If you let your sister talk you into more time, neither of you are going to enjoy the experience as much. Your sister is ta. Your sister wants a free babysitter and time to herself. She is gaslighting you into making you believe you are a bad person. Not the asshole. That's a great offer, and plenty of time with him. Your sister should be way more appreciative. Of course not the asshole. If your sister doesn't like your offer, just call the whole thing off. Not the asshole. You're actually having him for longer than I had kids for a sleepover in the middle of the summer. You practically have him until lunch. That's way beyond a sleepover. Am I the asshole for refusing to be friendly or acknowledge my sister's ex? Throwaway account. I, 24 female, am one of 5 children and the youngest of the 3 girls. My older sisters, Donna, 30 female, and Laura, 28 female, both dated John, 31 male, at one point of time, and our family had to endure the drama of it all. Donna dated John first in college but broke up due to conflicting goals for the future. A couple months after the breakup, John showed up at a family event as Laura's new boyfriend. Laura insisted that nothing physical happened while Donna was with him, and that since Donna claimed to be over the break-up there shouldn't be an issue. I called B.S. There were obvious shouting matches and tears, but Laura insisted that she and John were in love, and our parents eventually caved when Laura announced her pregnancy and proposal. I was completely on Donna's side in the beginning and kept my distance from Laura, but everything blew up when Laura caught John and Donna together while she was pregnant. Laura's body was obviously different and John claimed that he wasn't attracted to what she became. I was disgusted with him and confused with what to do about my sisters, so I just kept my distance. It was rough for the family and I don't think Donna and Laura will ever be close again, but it is what it is. John is the father of my nephew, so my parents and other siblings had to at least pretend to be nice. John still gets the obligatory invitation, but no one really wants him there. I don't know why, but for some reason John has started taking an interest in trying to talk to me. He'll always try to go beyond the polite greeting with me and I just try my hardest to get away. John got a hold of my new phone number and claims that he only did it because he wanted to make sure he could be in contact with everyone who had frequent interactions with his son and has tried to follow me on social media. I want this guy to leave me alone, but he's not getting the hint. At the last family event that he came to, he kept trying to talk to me and would follow me around a little bit. I gave him one polite greeting and then kept giving him the cold shoulder. Eventually, he cornered me and asked quite loudly why I was being so rude to him. I told him the truth. I don't like him and how I will always think less of him for his role in my sister's estrangement. He stormed off and I've been getting messages from my mom, my aunt, Laura, and my grandma that it was rude, and how I owed it to my nephew to apologize to his dad. John has stated that he will accept an apology in the form of a home-cooked dinner at my place. But I don't want to do that. Am I the asshole? Edit. Okay, I've been checking the answers, but to clarify a few things, I just wanted to say this. 1. My mom, Laura, and my aunt agree that me cooking for John isn't unreasonable, but do not support it being a one-on-one private event. 2. My brothers do not like John and have on more than one occasion wanted to have a talk with him, but my mom and Laura have mostly kept them at bay because if something were to happen John would press charges. 3. John cornered me in the living room on the couch in front of the women in my family. The men were outside drinking beer. 4. My family's is from the American South, so my mom, her sister, and my maternal grandma operate under that Southern hospitality mindset and believe all women should be polite, hospitable, presentable, and tactful rather than being direct and causing a scene. 5. Laura and John were engaged at the time, and while nothing has been officially called off, John refused to marry into a family where he feels he isn't welcomed or respected, and that's why he gets invited to stuff. Not the asshole. He thinks you girls come in a set. Seriously, he sounds creepy. Not the asshole. He will accept an apology in the form of a home-cooked dinner at your house? What a prick. Who does he think he is? Invite him over and put poison in the potatoes. Problem solved. Not the asshole, and inform your family that if he shows up at your place the police will be called. Not the asshole. Why is this man being invited to family functions? The only family member who should ever see him again is your sister at handoffs. Or in public events where your family is supporting your nephew like a ball game or school event. That guy is the creepiest creep that ever creeped. He obviously has some weird sister fetish. Tell mom and grandma if they want to indulge Mr. Creepy they can make his dinner. AITA for not celebrating my daughter's birthday? Let me start by saying that birthdays and holidays are a big deal in our family. We are fortunate to be able to celebrate one another with gifts, cakes, parties, etc. My spouse, M47, and I, F39, have 3 children: Juliet, 18F, Marie, 16F, and Thomas, 9M. A typical birthday as our family is breakfast in bed. The person chooses how to spend the day, gifts, $300 $500, cake, and any dinner they would like either at home or out. We don't take off work or anything but try to make whatever time we have together special. We all enjoy being celebrated, but Juliet is the birthday queen. The issue is that Juliet diminishes other people's birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas. I remind her prior to and day of. We'll say something so she at least acknowledges her siblings or dad's special day. For Mother's and Father's Day, she straight up pretends like it's not happening despite everyone else making plans. A few times, she has signed her name to a card that Marie buys. If I give her money to but her dad, siblings gifts, she often keeps it or buys something generic like a coffee cup for someone who doesn't drink coffee. This year on my birthday, she didn't come home the night before for the first time ever. She ignored my calls, texts for a few hours, then showed up around 10 a.m. with an, "I'm sorry. I fell asleep at Brianna's." It felt deliberate, but I am an adult and told her it hurt my feelings, then left it alone. On her siblings' birthdays, she often picks fights with someone in the fam, ignores them or does something distracting from the person's day. Despite reminders, this year for Thomas's birthday, she just wasn't around after telling him she was going to spend time playing Minecraft with him. She came home for a few hours in the evening, after work, told him happy birthday at my request, then went into her room, got ready and went out. Last year, after she turned 17, I sat her down, told her how hurtful it was that she doesn't like to celebrate anyone else but revels in being celebrated. She acknowledges her love of being celebrated but significantly overestimates her effort and makes excuses for her behavior. I've made small comments previously, It hurts my feelings when you ignore Dad on Father's Day. He provides everything for us, and began telling her that this year, she is going to get the same amount of energy that she puts into everyone else on her birthday. Well, today is her 18th birthday. I've purchased her favorite cheesecake and bought her a card along with a $50 Target gift card. It makes me like the asshole because I know that despite my warnings, she is expecting the usual. AITA? Edit to correct age. Edit for spelling, grammar, clarification. Update. She asked why no breakfast in bed, and I told her that she doesn't seem to enjoy our traditions any longer since she doesn't participate in anyone else's day. She was a bit taken aback, made a face like I slapped her but said, "Okay," and went back into her room. We all hugged her as we saw her separately, wished her a happy birthday and told her we loved her. We left her card, GC, inside on the counter. She wrote us a note saying, "Thanks for the card. I'm going to hang out with Anna for a while at her house. Be back for dinner. Preparing a dinner she enjoys and hopefully we eat together if she is home in time. I will update again if anything profound takes place and am always hopeful. Thank you for the many helpful and thought-provoking prompts. Not the asshole, especially because she is 18 now, she deserves as much effort as she gives. This is the right strategy. Not the asshole. You have a self-centered asshole for a daughter. She needs to learn that actions have consequences. Info. Why? Why does she feel it's okay to ignore her family on special days? Has anyone asked her? Info. Why did you feel it necessary to put 12U Juliet in therapy? Not the asshole. She needs to learn that you get what you give. If talking hasn't changed her behavior, maybe this will. Would I be the asshole for letting my daughter move in? I 37M am a recovering addict. I started doing drugs when I was 17. I was physically abused by both my parents and turned to drugs for comfort. I met my then GF, Catherine, when we were both 19 and I fell in love quickly. She was the opposite of me. She was kind, loving, and had a beauty I had never seen before. Our relationship went fast and before I knew it she was pregnant when we were 23. I decided I didn't want my child to see her father like this and began to clean myself up. My daughter was born and it was truly the best day of my life. I was determined to not give her the same childhood horrors I had. I was still struggling but I didn't relapse. Me and Catherine were married soon after Audrey was born and life was perfect for me. I'm proud to say for the first 6 years of Audrey's life I didn't touch any drugs. That failed when I lost my older brother to an overdose and that set me off again. I got re-hooked on pills to help with the pain. Me and Catherine's marriage fell apart and she filed for divorce. I eventually found myself divorced, homeless, an addict, and without my little girl. I often found myself outside of Audrey's school watching her on the playground, receiving class awards, doing class plays, all without me there. It wasn't until she was 8 and I hadn't been there for over a year when I realized I had to get my shit together. I rented a shitty apartment and worked every day at some fast food places. I would go multiple nights without dinner so I could give Catherine money. After I saved some money up, I enrolled in a local debt I'm still paying off college and graduated with an engineering degree. I got a decent job and moved out of my crappy apartment to a tiny, but much more livable apartment. This entire time I hadn't been allowed to see Audrey but kept in contact with Catherine. She sent me photos, videos, and occasionally let me talk to Audrey. Now to present day I have a very good job, a 2-story house, a backyard, and in a much better mental state. I have been paying child support on time each month, sending Audrey an allowance for whatever she wants. She comes over every weekend. Last night Audrey asked if she could come live with me permanently because she wants to be with me more. I talked to Catherine and she told me that she was okay with it. Catherine asked if she could come over on the weekend and I told her she was always welcome. Catherine and I have been interacting more and I've honestly been holding out hope that we fix our relationship. The reason I think I may be an asshole is because I was talking to a coworker and he called me an entitled asshole for thinking it was okay for me to be back in their lives. Saying I traumatized my family when I left and that I should have stayed gone. I nearly broke down because I really thought I fixed things. I know I hurt my family but I believed they forgave me. I really just want my daughter and Catherine back. Would I be the asshole if I let my daughter live with me? Not the asshole. It's not up to your coworker to judge that. It's up to your ex and your daughter. Congratulations for getting your shit together. Not the asshole. You are trying to right your wrongs and step up to the plate. Your coworker had no right to say that. I can see why you'd hope that. It's unresolved for you. It's clear you still have feelings for Catherine. Don't force it. Letting your daughter live with you is between you, Audrey and Catherine. Well done on getting your life together for your daughter. This post had me emotional. You should be proud. Not the asshole. You're doing your best to fix what you did wrong. Not everyone in your position is willing to do so. It wouldn't surprise me if Catherine recognizes this. I highly doubt that she'd let you be in Audrey's life as much as you are if she thought that you would be an issue. Props to you for cleaning your act up and doing your best to do better. Not the asshole. However, you have a responsibility to always be sober and never relapse again. You have to remain a constant in your child's life and for yourself. No matter what. I hope that you make sure to stay active in personal therapy as well as any program you utilize for accountability with your sobriety. Relapsing doesn't mean you are a bad parent and it seems like you have worked incredibly hard to better yourself. Your coworker was wrong and your child will benefit knowing that you turned things around and made a mistake but also fixed it. Not the asshole. That's none of your coworker's business, and good on you for working on your relationship with your daughter.